Well, Jeff, I appreciate you taking the time to share with me your thoughts on our partnership together, and both in the gym and out, and talking a little bit about what where you were at to where you are right now. And the first question being, take me through the kind of shape you were in, when you first decided you wanted to start working with me. What were you feeling like? Just paint that picture for me.
Pretty much, I mean, I wasn't very active at all. Everything was definitely out of whack, and considerably overweight, and definitely, versus then to now is definitely a total 180 as far as that. But yeah, as far as shape wise, it definitely wasn't where you wanted to be. You know what I mean? So it was, it was definitely very slow, very sluggish. But that's kind of how I would describe the start of everything.
What was going through your mind? Take me back to even leading up to our very first conversation, which would have been back in September, I believe. What was going through your mind back then that prompted you to say, this is the time I need to take action?
I mean, it's just something that, I've done previously and just kind of put it off. And honestly, one day I just decided I wanted to do it, and just kind of did the research and, came across some different things. And that's when I ran across, with your stuff, and just decided that's, I wanted to start doing something to take care of me, to just, improve me. So it's, nothing really sparked it. It was just one of those, I just needed to change. And that's kind of how it just kind of jumped off there.
What led you to that point, where that point, as opposed to points in the past, being that step, that aha moment where it's like, now's the time?
I mean, like I said, it really wasn't, a certain time. It's just, it's one of those things that you always say that you're going to do, and you just never do it. So it's, again, it was just one of those days. I was just kind of, I was at work on the computer and stuff, and just kind of looking around for it, and was like, let me see if maybe I can, maybe find some kind of information or something or whatever. And just kind of went from there. I mean, nothing really sparked it. It was something that, I should have done a long time previously, but, that's just kind of, I came across it that day, and, things just worked out the way they did, so.
What was that first, because I know when we first started talking, you were, I got a sense that you were just so adamant about doing this, that this was the time you had to get it done. I could tell that you had reached a certain level of frustration that now turned into positivity, and wanting to get this done. What was that first conversation like, where you thought, you know what, all right, this feels like the right time. Let's get her started.
Probably early on, again, it's one of those things where, I tell people, if you're not in that, situation or whatever, you get to a point where, I'm sure everybody's different. You just get to a point to where I'm tired of being the way that I am, and there has to be a way to change that, and it's, you just, you just get to a certain point where you're just fed up with things. But obviously there's a lot of work involved and things of that nature. And I just, that's kind of where I'm at, it's just like, I just, I try to think long-term, and try to think that, what can I do to better myself, to make sure that I'm around, because that's the route that I was going was in a total opposite direction. So that's kind of my mindset with that, was just that, obviously I need to make a change or something. And that was kind of the first step to, coming coming to that decision there
Mhm.
was, kind of reaching out and doing that. And this is kind of where I'm at right now. So,
What has your experience been like so far? I mean, we've been working together now, what, I'm doing the math in my head, since September until now, however many months that is. What's your experience been like to this point?
I mean, it's, you have your, everything's been good. You have your days that, things are really good, and your days are, you have your ups and downs and things like that. Overall, I'm satisfied with it. I'm still not, obviously I'm still not where I want to, where I be, but I do think there's a lot of things that I can improve on, and things of, like that. It just, again, it's definitely a work in progress. It's not something that's kind of happen overnight. So I just, but overall, I mean, I'm satisfied with it, so it's just kind of a one day at a time type thing. So that's kind of where I'm at with it right now. It's been almost a year, I guess, a couple months.
Absolutely. So, I guess for you, what has the relationship, the partnership between you and I been like for you? How has it worked for you?
I mean, it's good. I mean, like I said, as far as the communication aspect and being able to, I think that's a really important thing as far as, with anybody, not necessarily just, if you're working with somebody, whether it's virtual or whether it's there in person, but to be able to reach out to that person too, when you're not with them, and be able to, whether you have a question about something or just anything in general, the communication stuff. And I think that's a big part of it too. It's not just one of those things where you just kind of show up and you see the person and then you just kind of, your thing, it's more or less, you feel like even when you're not working and stuff like that, and then if you run across something that you have a concern about or something that you're able to, reach out to that person. It's not like, well, they make the time for you. And I think that's with anybody, if you're looking for something like that, that's going to be a big part of it, that you, can, be able to get with that person, not necessarily just when you're showing up for your scheduled, your visit or whatever. And, to be able to do that, I think that's a big portion of it. That's probably even bigger than just actually showing up, doing the work, to be able to feel like, hey, and you don't feel like, I don't want to be bothering them, or got other stuff going on. And it's like, hey, I'll see you on Thursday. I can't really fool with you today. You know what I mean? Like, to be able to reach out to that person. I think that's a big part of it, that, you definitely want, if anybody is deciding to do something like that, you want to be able to have that communication, with them too, when you're not necessarily with them, or, working out or something too, whether it's something to do with food, or, something to do with an individual, a particular exercise or anything else, you should be able to have that kind of like an open door policy type deal, go in there and be able to make that happen,
And I think
it comes full circle, it kind of makes it feel like, that makes it worth it. You're not just showing up doing the work. All right, see you later. And, we'll see the time you come through here, so.
I know our communication has been great, because, I think it helps the both of us. It helps, obviously, like I said, it helps you with any questions and concerns you may have, but also helps me to see where you're at, and how we're doing and what tweaks need to be made and adjustments and that sort of thing, and I think that's been a big part of it, and I enjoy that aspect of it. I know as much as you do, which is great, sure. And if somebody were to come ask you and say, hey, I've seen the work you've done, you look great, which you do, by the way, who you're working with, and what makes you want to work with them, and why should I go work with them? What would you tell that person?
I mean, you know, um, I mean, obviously, it's when I know when I looked up, I know when I went and searched or whatever like that and looked it up, I mean, it was one of the first ones that did, pop up. And a lot of times I get caught up in reading reviews and things like that too, to be able to pass on the information to recommend you to other people. I mean, yeah, definitely would, again, like I said earlier, it's not just, cause I know in the past I've been with, I've talked to other people too who have had trainers and things to where they just felt like, it was like, it was just kind of like an appointment thing and like that, and I think I think the big thing that stands out with whether it be you or with anybody else is that communication aspect of it. And, to just be able to dedicate the time like that towards an individual client or something too. So, I mean, I would definitely highly recommend that, for that. And I mean, it's, it is very, it is a little different. I mean, and I guess it depends too on what they decide to do as far as whether it's a virtual thing or whether they meet you, at, whether you're at your, or, at your place or whatever. Cause it is a little, it is definitely different. I mean, the actual come there, it's definitely not, I guess some people wouldn't look at that, because when you explain that to people, they wouldn't feel like it's an ideal type of thing there. But once you kind of see it and you can do the work and can do that, it really kind of shows you that, you can make this happen anywhere, whether it's in a gym, whether it is virtually or something, you have to, I think you just have to have that communication. You have to have that relationship with the person. So whether it's, whether it's with you or anybody else, I mean, I think that's a big part of it. But yeah, I would definitely recommend, that too. If anybody's interested in doing something like that, that's my feelings on the situation. I mean, that's how I feel, so.
Cool. I appreciate that. All right. I think I am all set. I appreciate your time, Jeff.